Every big historical event, every war, it's not just dates and battles, is it? It's really this complex tapestry woven from countless individual lives. So many stories just lost. Today, we're pulling on one of those threads. It's the incredible but also deeply tragic story of a young sailor, Donald Kenneth Hall, and the really unique, almost unbelievable fate of his submarine, the USS Corvina, during World War II. So our mission on this deep dive, we're going to piece together Donald's journey from the American heartland right into the silent service. We've got these fragments, old newspaper clippings, his draft card, naval records, and some pretty compelling historical accounts about his final patrol. Okay, let's unpack this. We want to use these bits and pieces to uncover not just what happened, but who this young man was, and the extraordinary, really singular circumstances that mark the Corvina in history.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how these seemingly separate pieces, a draft notice from a small town, then the logs of a major naval event relieved, how they all come together. They shine a light on this very specific, very rare event in military history. It gives us this personal view, a human lens into that huge, incredibly dangerous world of submarine warfare in the Pacific. The stakes were just astronomical then. Every single mission was a gamble.
Donald Hall's story. It starts so far from the ocean. Born December 15, 1917. Seneca, Kansas. Think about that time. Global tensions rising, sure, but for a young guy like Donald, life in the Midwest, probably focused on community, family. He actually lived with his uncle and aunt, Mr. and Mrs. John Verner, over in Pawnee City, Nebraska. His grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Herb Hall, were there too. Small towns, right, where everyone knows everyone. And then, bang, the world shifts. Like so many others of his generation, that call to service comes. We can see it pretty clearly in the records. He registered for the draft July 10th, 1941. Nemaha County, Kansas. He was one of 25 young men from Sabetha who signed up that day. Imagine that. A group of local guys stepping up. His enlistment in the Navy followed. The records differ slightly, maybe February 42, maybe December 42. But either way, it puts him right in those frantic early war years. The whole country mobilizing, ordinary folks becoming sailors.
Absolutely. And Donald's journey from Kansas right into specialized Navy training, it perfectly mirrors that huge shift the Navy was going through. It wasn't just about getting more bodies. It was about rapidly developing these incredibly technical skills. So young men like Donald, they were fast-tracked into these highly specialized and, let's be honest, really dangerous roles. His first training stop was the Naval School at the U.S. Destroyer Base in San Diego, California, and there he went to Internal Combustion Fleet School. That's essential stuff for a motor machinist's mate, second class, a MUM M2C.
Okay, MUM M2C, motor machinist's mate. Can you break that down a bit? What exactly did they do on a submarine? Sounds pretty technical.
Oh, absolutely vital. The MOMs, they were basically the sub's engineers and mechanics. They kept those massive diesel engines running when the boat was surfaced. Super important. They handled recharging the batteries for when they were submerged, maintained all the complex machinery. Essentially, they ensured the sub had power, propulsion, lights, everything. The heart of the boat, really, needed serious skill and a cool head under pressure. We even see this little moment of, normalcy in his records. December 1942, he got to go home, visit his grandparents and uncle in Pawnee City on furlough until Christmas morning.
Wow, imagine that relief. Just a brief return home before diving back in.
Exactly. But the training didn't stop. He went to the Great Lakes Naval Training Station in Illinois next. And then, this was the big one, he graduated from submarine school, New London, Connecticut, June 26, 1943. And that wasn't just any school. That was the gateway, the silent service. Super tough program, prepared them for the psychological side, the technical side, life underwater. His plan, apparently, was to go to engineering school next. Shows you his dedication.
So this whole journey, Kansas, San Diego, Great Lakes, New London, it all leads him to one specific boat. Tell us about the USS Corvina.
That's right. His path led straight to the USS Corvina, SS-226, a Gato-class submarine. She was launched May 9, 1943, commissioned just a few months later, August 6, 1943, built at Electric Boat in Groton, Connecticut. Now, these Gato-class boats, they were the workhorses of the U.S. subfleet in the Pacific. Real powerhouses, great range, good speed, packed a punch. Designed for deep patrols in enemy territory. Her skipper was Commander Roderick S. Rooney. And here's a little detail. The Corvina was the only U.S. Navy ship ever named for the Corvina fish. Kind of a solitary name, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And here's where it gets really interesting and honestly pretty tense. Because the Corvina, Donald Hall on board, she's about to head out on her very first war patrol. Maiden voyage. And they're sending her into some of the absolute most dangerous waters in the Pacific.
Right. And that immediately makes you ask, what kind of environment are we talking about? What made the area around Trek so deadly for a sub? Okay, so she left Pearl Harbor November 4th, 1943. Refueled at Johnston Island 2 days later, November 6th. Her mission: patrol south of Truk. Now, you have to picture Truk Atoll. It was like Japan's Gibraltar in the Pacific. A massive, heavily fortified naval base just teeming with warships, aircraft, anti-submarine patrols, a hornet's nest. The Corvina's main job was to intercept any Japanese forces that might interfere with the upcoming U.S. invasion of the Gilbert Islands. Operation Galvanic. That was a critical operation. So protecting its flank was vital. Her specific orders were to patrol as close to Truk as the enemy defenses would allow.
Wow. Close to Truk.
Exactly. So for any sub, let alone one on its first patrol, going there wasn't just high risk. It was a genuine deep dive into the lion's den. Detection. That often meant instant disaster, depth charges, destroyers. It was this constant, silent, nerve-wracking game of cat and mouse deep in hostile territory.
And then the silence. The first really worrying signs about the Corvina start coming back, or rather, not coming back. November 30th, 1943. A dispatch goes out. Routine order. Switch command to Task Force 72 on December 2nd, headed to Lagi for rendezvous. They send the message again and again over several nights, asking for acknowledgement. But nothing. Just radio silence. Which must have felt incredibly chilling. Now, because the Japanese were known to mess with communications, there was this initial thought, maybe she did get the message past command, just couldn't acknowledge, you hope, right? But she never showed up at Tulagi. Didn't respond to anything later. That hope just faded. And then, December 23, 1943. She hadn't been heard from since leaving Johnston Island back on November 6th. The Corvina was officially reported as presumed lost.
And that period, the presumed lost phase, it's just heartbreaking when you think about the families. Like Donald Hall's family, for over 2 years, they were stuck in this awful limbo. Imagine that waiting. Is he alive? Is he lost? That constant uncertainty. It wasn't just some abstract statistic of war for them. It was this daily gnawing anguish, lingering long after that official notice. The public announcement came later, March 14th, 1944. Donald Hall himself was reported missing in action back in January 44. His home listed with his uncle and aunt in Pawnee City. His parents, Mr. and Mrs. Adrian C. Hall in Salt Lake City, they were notified too, of course. The Navy officially struck the USS Covina from the list on March 25, 1944. But how she was lost, the actual cause, that remained a complete mystery for years. It wasn't until 1946. After the war, when they analyzed captured Japanese naval records, that's when the full story finally came out. The official declaration of Donald Kenneth Hall's death finally came January 23, 1946, confirming he'd been missing since November 30, 1943.
And those captured Japanese records. They revealed the specific, really dramatic, and frankly terrifying details of what happened. Night of November 16, 1943. A Japanese submarine, the I-176, under Lieutenant Commander Yamaguchi Kozaburo, is out there on patrol to break moonlight, and they spot a submarine on the surface, about 300 miles south of Truk. In that moment, the Japanese crew thought they saw a Perch-class submarine, probably recharging batteries, they figured. They had absolutely no idea they were about to make history in this grim way. The I-176 quickly gets into firing position, 1.21 hours, 3 torpedoes launched, 2 of them hit. The Japanese log records a great explosion sound, and the American sub sank. Fast. All 82 men on board were lost. They saw debris, an oil slick afterwards, confirmation they'd sunk a sub. But they didn't know it was the USS Corvina.
So just to be absolutely clear here, this means the Corvina has this unique, almost unbelievable place in U.S. Navy history.
Exactly. It's singular. This event wasn't just another tragic loss, though it certainly was that. It's a real shockwave through the submarine force, I imagine. The USS Corvina is the only American submarine confirmed sunk by an enemy submarine during all of World War II.
The only one. Wow.
The only one. Our subs generally had the edge over their Japanese counterparts, but this was proof. Proof that even the hunter could become the hunted instantly in those silent depths. It probably made them rethink things, Patrol tactics, maybe intelligence, showed that the enemy underwater, even if maybe less advanced overall, was still incredibly dangerous, unpredictable. It just highlights that constant hidden battle happening beneath the waves, where one encounter could mean everything. And it really drives home the immense personal cost, especially in that kind of deep isolation. Chilling. Just chilling to think about that moment. Moonlight, far from anywhere. And for 82 guys, including Donald, it's over, just like that. So we bring back to Donald Kenneth Hall, motor machinist mate second class. He's right there on the Corvina's muster roll from October 31st, 1943. His service entry date listed as January 6, 1942 from Kansas City. When his death was finally declared, his parents were Mr. and Mrs. Adrian Hall of Salt Lake City. But the impact, the loss, it spread wider. He had 3 brothers. Raymond Hall, serving in the Army over in Manila. Herbert Lewis Hall, also in the Navy out in San Diego. And Glenn Arthur Hall, back in Salt Lake City. And 4 sisters, too. Mrs. George Bentley, Mrs. Oscar Werfel, Miss Margaret Hall, and Miss Vonia Grace Hall. Their lives, like countless others, forever changed by the loss of a son, a brother.
It's such a vital reminder, isn't it? Behind every number, every statistic and more, there are real people, families, communities, changed forever. But the crew of the USS Corvina, even though their end was unique and tragic, they are definitely not forgotten. Their sacrifice is honored in several places. There's a memorial plaque down in Seal Beach, California. And Corvina Base, a submarine veterans group, they have a memorial for the SS-226 at the Veterans Cemetery in Fernley, Nevada. And, for anyone listening who wants to learn more, the website on Eternal Patrol, it's an incredible online memorial. It lists every single sailor lost on the Corvina. Each one has an individual memorial page. It's a powerful way to make sure their stories, their sacrifices aren't forgotten. Connects you to the names on that list. Really shows the importance of remembering each individual life.
So you've joined us for this deep dive today. We've uncovered a story of, well, personal courage, didn't we? And the deep mystery of the ocean, and this one singular tragic moment that really did shape naval history. From Donald Hall's beginnings in the heartland, through all that intense training, to the Corvina's incredibly dangerous first patrol and its unique fate. The only U.S. sub sunk by another sub in the war. It's quite a story. Really highlights the human side, the unseen events of that conflict.
It really does. And the story of the Corvina, her crew, lost like that, in the silent depths, sunk by an unseen enemy. It sort of compels you to wonder, doesn't it, how many other pivotal moments in history just happened beneath the surface or in the shadows, shaping our world in ways we're maybe still figuring out. It really encourages us all, I think, to keep digging for those hidden histories. There's always more to learn, always more stories waiting, reminding us of that vast human experience woven through the past.